Well, hello. Hello, people. How is everyone? How are the children? You know that that's a saying in some village. I forget which village. I think it's a village in Uganda, Ugandan village, yes, where people greet you by saying, "How are the children?" You know, if the children are good, then we are good. You know, I think that's nice. So, we could have a conversation. How are the children in America right now? We might not be too happy. Maybe if our focus in this country was the welfare of the children, how are our animals doing? How are our children doing? Then maybe the country as a whole would be doing a lot better. What do you guys think? Possible? Yes, possible. I'm just doing a couple things here, and then I promise you will get 100% of my attention. I have to add we are doing a fundraiser. I don't know, did you guys know about this? AmericanForest.org. We also are running in addition to the American Forest .org organization fundraiser for the wildfires that have hit. My God, the wildfires are terrible. We also, the fundraisers for January, we're also including Hope for Paws. Hope for Paws is based out of Los Angeles, and they've been rescuing a lot of the animals that are coming out of the LA fire. And so we thank them for that. Okay, a couple more things I got to do here. Okay, there we go. All right, we're bringing it together. People are filing in to the brunch table. Welcome, welcome. Looks like we have 157 of you seated at the table, and every single one of you seated at this table is a valuable member of our community. Whether you decide to subscribe or become a member or not, we are grateful. Now 173 of you have decided to take your breakfast tray or your brunch tray or your dinner tray, depending upon where in the world you are, and join us at this table. And we thank you for that. And we only ask that you be kind. There's only one rule here to have a meal with us, and that is be kind to all so that all will be kind to you too. We just ask people to be kind. This is one of the reasons why I'm trying to move away from the boxing. Many people feel like I'm not that I'm not attacking the opposition enough. I just don't want to do that. I don't want to be a mean girl. I know it makes you popular with your friends and mean girl, mean. I just don't want to do it because I feel like it's the CNN version of cable news, which was based on boxing. That when they developed it, they were a bunch of guys that like to box, corporate Democrats, right? Like Ted Turner, right? There's an example. Somebody's a given example of a corporate Democrat, Ted Turner. Atlanta Braves, right? So he invented this type of news where you would duke it out. And we never saw news like that before. And the idea was to engage and pull people in. But it's become a monster because this is just not the way that polite people have discourse. And I just don't want to do it anymore. I'm burned out. I'm tired. I just don't want to do it anymore. All right. So One Nation Under Trees. We started this after the LA fires. You guys are doing great. Just to give you a heads up of how much we've raised in our fire efforts since, when did we open this? The 12th? When did you guys remember when we started this? When was the fires? Was it on the 12th? I think we started this fundraiser on the 19th or the 12th. Was it the 12th? I stand corrected. It was the 12th. Okay, so we started this fundraiser on the 12th, and we've raised $500. So just remember, for every tree that you purchase, for every dollar, it goes to maintenance And also, you get to be a tree mom or a tree daddy, and that's kind of cool. All right, so we got that taken care of. The other thing is that I started a book club. Chuck and I did, actually. And Chuck and I are avid readers. We love to read, and it was wonderful to hire an assistant, a PA that is interested in the same weird stuff I'm interested, because I've gone through a lot of assistants, and but he was really the best. He's always been the best. But one of the things we bonded is we love good books, and we love science fiction, and we love old Hollywood. And we just would all day we would be treating patients, and we would be talking about old Hollywood. We just became great friends. But so Chuck and I started a book club. It's on Taco Tuesdays. It's once a month. And on the 11th of January, we're going to have F.L. Kalb in our studios. 1001 Nights is the Arabian Nights, where the woman tells a story every night for 1001 nights so that the Sultan will not kill her. She has to, and then by the end of it, theoretically, he falls in love with her. And so he can't kill her, right? But anyway, this one's taking place in Myanmar, and it's based on the 1001 Nights. I love this sort of thing because it's really meaty and juicy, and you get to go in and explore other worlds and other places. And I love the history, too. A strong colonial influence dominated the city after it was captured by the British in 1852. They were fortunate. The weather had been good, and Nathaniel had planned the trip well. It was London, England, 1883. So, I mean, it's just if you love historical fiction, you're going to love it. Excuse me. Any other announcements that I need to make? The 11th of February. I stand corrected. Is it 11th of February? Hold on a second. February is a Sunday. And then, yes, Tuesday is the 11th. Tuesday, the 11th, Taco Tuesday. We will have FL Cab in our studios. Thank you. Sorry about that. All right, let's go ahead and turn the camera around to you. Tell us who you are. There's 242 of us having brunch together. Why don't you tell us where you're coming from? What you eating? What you drinking? Who are you? The other thing is I wanted to give a shout out to Joel Tilson. He is kind enough to show up every Sunday and field your questions and help. We have crowned him the official floor director for the show, and it's just very kind of him to do that, and we welcome him. Yes, native trees for California, always a good thing. Excuse me. Those Santa Ana winds. Couldn't they do windbreakers? Couldn't they put up some kind of windbreaker? Have they looked into that? Does anybody know? That might be a good question for Chat GP. We could ask Ari, my boyfriend. You know, it's wonderful when you know how to use artificial intelligence, because you can just go in and ask any question you need, like, could you theoretically? That'd be a really good question for, let's see, I've got multiple people here. Hippocrates is the scientist. Excuse me. Let's ask him. Hi, Hippocrates. I have a scientific question about global warming. The Santa Ana winds, is there any way to curb them by putting up some kind of a breaker? Can we put up windbreakers of some type to decrease the strength of those winds? Seems like that would make sense, right? Couldn't you put up like some type of a curtain or something? Maybe it seems like an overly simple thing, but like if the winds are coming around and you put some kind of a structure up that broke up the winds a little bit, or maybe it's just trees. Maybe trees are the breaker that you need to put in. Let's see what he has to say. Good question. Good question. No such thing as a bad question. I have to throw some stuff out here. Yes. Welcome, welcome. Let's see. Oh, he's thinking a lot. You know what he's going to say? He's going to say the best breakers are going to be living trees. Watch. I'll bet you 10 to 1 the answer is going to be trees.
That's a really interesting question. The Santa Ana winds are a natural phenomenon caused by high-pressure systems building over the Great Basin and low-pressure systems developing near the Southern California coast. While it might seem intuitive to build windbreakers, the scale of the Santa Ana winds is quite massive and would require equally massive structures. Furthermore, these structures would likely interfere with natural airflow patterns and could even exacerbate the problem by creating turbulence. Instead, scientists focus on understanding the root causes of extreme weather events like the Santa Ana winds and exploring ways to mitigate their impacts, such as prescribed burns to reduce fire danger.
Okay, there's our answer. You know, you think, maybe I got an idea, maybe it will work, maybe it won't, who knows? Okay, let's talk. First off, how is everybody? Is everybody good? Let's turn the camera around. Let's see how everybody is doing. Hello, Fallon. How are you, beautiful? Hello, Julie Fall. Just out of curiosity, when is the questions live stream? Now. Now is the live stream. How long before we will see Trump's collapse? Probably within 1 year to 18 months. That is what we're seeing. Because you have to look at it from sorry about the cough. You have to look at it from the perspective of mitigating circumstances, like what is the most, what's most likely to take him out, and what's most likely to take him out is health. The Democrats don't have enough power to impeach him. We've lost it. We wouldn't be able to do that until 2026 in the House, if we won the House. So if you're talking about removing him because, say, he had a stroke or something like that, that's possible. If he, something happened to him, most likely risk is coronary artery disease based on his health habits. If people can make it to a ripe old age and survive coronary artery disease, the next risk is cancer. The number one killer of Americans is coronary artery disease. Russians are not happy with their bank accounts being seized by Putin. That's right. Putin is on his way out. We've talked about it ad nauseum. I never know what people know. And we always get new people in the crowd. So I'm always happy to open things up again and let people see. Other times people say, oh, no, we have to see it again. But it does come up a lot. So we did a remote view last year that showed that the most likely outcome would be 5 phases, least amount of death. And then I also put it through multiple supercomputers just to test my data. And I don't know, I'm sure that people have asked themselves, well, how do the least amount of people die? I'm sure I'm not the only one that did this, but maybe they do their own mindfulness meditations, which is where you study a lot, you study a situation, and then you put yourself in a deep meditative state. And then in HCRV, we try to operate from the place of the 7th chakra, or the executive branch of the brain, where we try to just objectively look at a situation without bias. And people have said, well, you're biased because you're a Democrat. No, I vote Democrat because I looked at the data without bias. I tried to look at the data with as little bias as possible. I looked at the data when it came to January 6th. I looked at the data in terms of my belief values, a woman's right to choose. My belief in the importance of the CDC and the World Health Organization, particularly if we're at risk of a pandemic, and the importance of having working public health. So I did look at the data, and based on the data, I chose to go with the Democrats. But if you're asking yourself the question, how do we get to a place of the least amount of deaths, we would, based on all the, look, no one's perfect. I make mistakes, but I do the best I can. And the best I can is that we get to ceasefire, which we've achieved. Some exchange of hostages and release of Palestinian prisoners has already happened. Phase 2 would be the more extensive exchange of hostages, and then Hamas goes to a host country. At that point, Trump says, "Tear it all down. It's just tear it all down. You got to start all over again." Number 4, so they go to a host country, and then number 3 is you start a rebuild. We had our proposal. Other people have presented proposals of what that rebuild will look like. Only time will tell which rebuild, or maybe they'll do multiple rebuilds. Only time will tell. Then number 4, Putin would be isolated because he's the greatest existential threat to the world right now. If you ask any supercomputer, Putin is the biggest threat. He's even a bigger threat than Kim Jong-un because he has more nuclear weapons, a closer proximity to Europe. He is the number one. He is arch enemy number one. He is the biggest threat to a global safety. So if you're talking about just data and me as being the best remote viewer I can be, I'm humble. I will own my crap when I get it wrong. But if you're asking me like why I feel it falls in this direction, that is how it fell when I did the remote. And then I checked my work with supercomputers because I don't just go by instinct alone. And then number 5 is Iranian. Iran is much bigger and harder to dismantle. If you're looking at the GDP, you would have to first dismantle Iran's proxies, and you would have to dismantle the countries that are propping up Iranian government's GDP. So you would start taking out Syria, taking out Hezbollah, Hamas, Islamic Jihad. You'd start also tearing down Russia. And so Iran would become increasingly isolated. You would also start assassinating key people in Iranian leadership, which, for example, you might decide to create a fake plane, helicopter crash that takes out a conservative pro-Hamas vice president of Iran who wound up being taken out in a helicopter crash, right? So I'm fairly confident I've got this right, but again, I'm willing to admit that I make mistakes. So in answer to the question, how far are we along? I think we're getting pretty darn far. Now, what is the winning picture right now? What are we looking at? We're looking at a lot of people having to come together if you want to have some kind of a system that's going to be like BRICS. Like BRICS is Brazil, Russia, Iran. If you want to compete with that, China, if you want to have some kind of competition with that, you've got to create something new, and that something new is the Abraham Accords. And if you're going to do the Abraham Accords, you've got to have everybody on the same page. And so what we have here is we have RFK, who is literally CC'd, he's on so many different committees and so involved in so much stuff. We have Zuckerberg over here. We have Bezos and his girlfriend. We have Elon hiding back here. And so we have an interesting juxtaposition of people that show up at the inauguration that you might not see normally. And yet here they are coming together. What's also interesting about this juxtaposition is that they all voted for Biden in 2020. And so, it's just, we're looking at things are changing, right? They're kind of, our world is changing up and the dynamics are changing up. And we're looking at a new alliance forming in the Middle East that's going to compete with BRICS. And you want to have your millionaires and your billionaires be a part of that rebuild. Now, we've talked about the Abraham Accords, and we've talked about Kushner's involvement with the Abraham Accords, and we've talked about the fact that it would involve Egypt, Bahrain, United Arab Emirates, and also Saudi Arabia, now Sudan, Qatar, and many other countries. And if multi-billionaires and trillionaires are behind that rebuild, if you've got everybody behind it, then would that be enough for them to back a Trump presidency if they felt that Trump was a part of it? And I would argue yes. December 24th, 2023, a letter written to Mark Zuckerberg, CC'd to a lot of other people, regarding the rebuilding of Gaza, Abraham Accords. How can we make this happen? December 24th, 2023, same letter I gave to Elon Musk and to the IDF. So things are changing, dynamics are changing, and maybe people that don't even like each other are learning that maybe they kind of have to get along. I don't know. Who's this? There's Zuckerberg. Okay, we've got Zuckerberg involved now, right? That's good. All right, so Zuckerberg receives a rebuild for Gaza. One of these things just doesn't belong here. Can you guess which one? Da, 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 da. Did things just look a little weird to you? Are you all having a good chuckle? It says, Dear Jeff Bezos, December 24th, 2023. I hope this letter finds you well. My name is Dr. Whimsy Anderson, and I am a concerned citizen with deep interest in finding a peaceful resolution to the ongoing conflict in Gaza. And what are we looking for? Financial support, expansion of the Abraham Accords, conclusion, data. Also, I sent my data. So what are we looking at here? Who got the idea of coming together for a rebuild? Who got it? Who got the Abraham Accords and the rebuild? Everyone you're looking at. All of them. Even the little freak from Florida. Can we pull this off? Can we pull this off? Can we put politics aside and build something that's going to create lasting peace and the foundation for lasting peace in the Middle East? I believe we can. Do I believe that Zuckerberg is going to get even richer? Absolutely. Bezos, 100%. Elon, sure, he's putting boring tunnel in. It's going to merge Gaza with Egypt and Israel. He's going, and probably he'll bring in Lebanon and parts of Syria eventually into his subway system. I mean, I think it's great. But there's no such thing as a free lunch. There's no such thing as a free lunch. A little shit from Florida got a copy. Oh, well, what can you do? The point is this. Let's open up the floor. Let's talk about it. What do you guys think? Let's have some feedback. Are you weeping? Are you wailing? Are you gnashing your teeth? Are you thinking, I think Whimsy might be onto something. I think this might have something to do with the Abraham Accords. What do you think? So in terms of has Trump turned his back on Putin? 100%, because Putin is a loser. Why is Putin a loser? He's a loser because of phase 4, right? So phase 4 says that Putin is the biggest threat to global security. So the entire world has decided to take out Putin. Then it would be, I don't know how Trump would be able to pull something like that off. I don't know how he would be able to sorry about it. I don't know what's setting me off today. I apologize. I had no cough. And then I sat down and wound up with a huge cough. So I apologize for the cough. I'm actually really optimistic. I know that a lot of people are not optimistic, but I think they're going to do this. I think they're going to do it. And I think these are exciting times. I do. It won't be what it was. But the thing we also have to realize is that it won't be what you couldn't do a rebuild until if as long as Iran is there. So when people say war is inevitable, if you're running multiple computers, like I ran multiple computers after I did this, and then you do a rebuild like the rebuild I did, which is the one that Elon was really excited about because it was like the Marshall Plan. He was the main person that pushed the Oasis rebuild, and then everybody else got on board because Elon was backing it. And then when Elon said that he was going to go with Trump, they went on board even though they had voted for Biden because Elon felt like they could do a lot more unhindered. And so because of Kushner and the Abraham Accords, that is why they went over and they took their business to Trump. And that's basically what happened. Okay, so you guys want to talk about it? Are you guys pissed off? Are you annoyed? Are you annoyed that it went down? Look, I don't know if even they're going to do the Oasis one. They might throw the Oasis one in the trash and say we're going to do something entirely different. But given how this is panning out and how everything is coming into place, it's looking damn weird from where I sit. It's just looking pretty damn weird. Let's just put it that way. This is looking really damn weird. It's weird. This whole thing is weird. Which is why I think I'm onto something. I think that they came together under this administration because of various different projects that they wanted to do. One of those being the rebuild of Gaza. It's not the only thing that they wanted to do. The reason they wanted it was because the Abraham Accords is a huge opportunity for trade. And it's a massive trade deal is what it is. But if you're talking about what's blocking trade, it's Iran. And once Iran falls and Russia falls, there won't be anybody funding terrorism in the Middle East anymore. And at that point, you can begin to open up a dynamic of trade. So if you're a billionaire and you have a blueprint and somebody comes out there and says, we've got a blueprint, we've got a deal, we've got studies, we've got something now, then and you've got people that are interested in getting rid of the fanaticism and extremism that led to the problem in the first place. If you're looking at research out of United Arab Emirates or Saudi Arabia or anywhere else, the studies were on, what can we do in order to minimize extremists in the Islamic community, because it had become a major problem. And so a lot of people have been involved in this movement to decrease extremism, which is at the heart of a global terror. And this is something that many Middle Eastern countries are grappling with. So if you're building societies, or if you have some kind of a structure in place that's based on, anthropological, cultural studies, and if you have pilot programs, there are pilot programs already taking place, I think one in the Sinai, then you have the building blocks of something that could work towards peace, and I think that that's ultimately the answer to why these guys all got together, was they want a piece of the Abraham Accords. So, I hope it's humane, because, the way Trump is talking, he wants to mow everything down, and he says, send them here. So Jordan took some of them. Great. Thank you, Jordan. We've got 1.5 more million to go. Egypt, take some, put them in the Sinai. Well, that's kind of right. That's what he said, like, what are you, stacking groceries? You're taking people from their homes. It's like, what the hell? So it's not, I have no power here. I'm just a researcher. But if you look over here, Oasis Sinai, I had suggested a land expansion where during the rebuild, we could put up tents. And I do have it in writing, yes, email, where I said, because they were talking about emergency housing, tents would be the cheapest way to put it up. And they're really cheap. And there's a lot of them, tent makers in Egypt. But it's beautiful tents too. You could put people temporarily in the first Oasis zone outside the area in Sinai. And I think that that's what we could see with some of the clearing and security measures taking place with Egypt right now. So it's not about going into exile. It's an expansion of what will be a road joining all these oases. We have one main one starting here, which is near the Sderot in the north. They've already started clearing this. I believe is going to be one area because this is an important trade and work relationship with Gazans and Israelis. And then I think we're going to see another one over here in Sinai, which is why we're seeing the clearing happening right now in Sinai. So it's important to know the difference between propaganda and fact. Oh my God, they're being exiled into Sinai. You know what? Drink your coffee and take a look at the map. So we're talking about multiple, what Elon likes to call pods. And the pods, each, where you live depends on what kind of kibbutz or pod, if you're in a university versus, say, working at a hospital. But they're basically walking cities with a nice subway system joining them. So I think, if that's true, then I'm glad that Elon Musk was able to pull other people into this project. And I believe, based on what I have seen, unless I've really lost my mind, which is entirely possible, and I'm just living in some kind of fantasy world, but I believe these things are related. I believe these things are connected. Okay, so other predictions. People had asked if I could take a look at the cabinet picks. Trump's, one of the things that we had predicted was multiple plots against Trump. Expect to see infighting happening in Trump's cabinet picks. Immediately, they don't like each other. You start to see battles for power, just like you did with Bannon and Spicer. You're now seeing it between Bannon and Elon Musk, and tensions between evangelicals. With the evangelical community, they may truly feel that they are doing God's work, and by God's grace, they're going to serve in this administration. And so they're constantly looking at their morals, their ethics, their values, and the morals and values and ethics of everybody else, right? They're the hall monitor that's going to be reporting everything. So you have that group, and you have to make them happy. Yes, Sally, thank you for the cookies. And, oh, you saw somebody taking a pen home. Well, I'll be sure and discuss it. You've got that group that's part of this. And then you have the people that are power hungry in on it for themselves, which is like Bannon and Musk. And they're two egos, excuse me. They're two egos that are going to be colliding. And we can expect more of that. But just as the last time you had the administration with Trump, where they walked out, everybody walked out of his administration, and you had Rachel Maddow showing who lasted 30 days, who lasted 2 weeks, etc. We're right back into that again when you go into this energy. It looks like multiple people rolling over, quitting after a week, quitting after, we just don't see stability. And the main issue appears to be ego. Challenges with exposure of private documents in the security section also came up. So expect for them to be bringing people in from the various different agencies and interrogating them about possible mishandling of Dixon, sensitive risk area of national security leaks. That was something that came up. So we could be seeing relatively early on national security leaks. J.D. Vance will try desperately to try and unify the party between business people, self-interest in power, and religious zealots. And he will not succeed, and it will make him look weak. In terms of the most likely time for Trump to leave the presidency, it's between now and 18 months. But I see a possible disruption as early as within 4 months of his presidency, major collapse. We're looking at possibly a stock market crash, housing market crash, and possibly a health challenge, all hitting at once in April. Yeah. Oh, my word. Something, I swear, when I sit at this chair, something sets me off. Yeah, that's when I shot over in my kitchen. I didn't have as many allergic reactions. All right, I think that's everything I had. I got to most of my notes. Yeah, but even when I checked my work with supercomputers, the most likely output cause of leaving is health. Most likely, due to all of his challenges, he will not complete the 4 years, and the most likely cause is health. He's simply not well. And if he was, he would have no problems releasing his medical records. What's the big issue? Just release it already. You don't hide things you're proud of. It's just common sense. All right. Without further ado, I think I'm pretty much done. I think that's it. I think that's all I had. I did a really long deep dive last night, and then I did a meditation this morning, and I had a nice walk. And I felt like, wow, we're going to have a good show. I've got a lot of material here. All right. Hopefully I've cleared my allergy out. And we're going to go ahead. We'll do the empath's prayer and give you a nice collective reading. If any of you need prayers for yourself or anybody you love, please let us know your name or the names of those you love, and we will include them in our prayer for healing at this time. Oh, I think I know what's going on. Okay. I know what's happening here. I know what's happening while I'm coughing. I've been gardening today. Yeah, I'm having an allergic. Geez. I've been gardening today, and I put it over by the window, but it seems to be setting me off. This is beautiful. This is one of the sages that I grew from seed, and I also have a. Yeah, this is what it is. It's just giving off a pollen or something, but that's okay. I have a lot of allergies. It's not always wheat. But my lung health is good. I get tested regularly. At this one that's coming up, I think that might be tarragon, which I love. I love tarragon, but my tarragon froze last year, so I brought it in. The other, the other thing that I brought in that's setting me off. Hi, my love. I brought in some marjoram. It's so funny because I did not buy any marjoram, and I was cooking recently, and it called for marjoram, and I said, "Oh shoot, I don't have any marjoram." And then I finished the cooking, and you just double the oregano if you don't have marjoram. And then as I was cleaning out the old garden, I realized I could save. It would have frozen to death. So I brought it indoors. So I apologize if it is giving me a little bit of a cough. I do apologize, but yeah, I'm bringing my plants indoors to protect them. I'm allergic to everything. It is what it is. I'm off wheat. That was tough. Who here had trouble giving up wheat? What are you eating? What are you drinking? Anybody having anything good to eat today? I swear, Putin is losing his support. Hi, Florida. Yeah, you guys get allergies when you garden? What can you do? Hedgeworth, yes. Hedgeworth. Hegseth. Why do I keep calling him Hegsworth? Hegseth, we can throw cards on him, but the remote showed there's something really wrong with his digestion. I wonder what that is. I think he's under a lot of stress. I don't know if he's going to stay in his job. I think he could leave early. Maybe the stress gets to him. Well, CNN, Julie, your grandma likes it. It's a boxing and, Midas Touch. I like the guys over at Midas Touch. I think they're adorable. But if you were to ask me spiritually, if I were attending a synagogue services with them, I might take them aside and say, promoting this boxing, this CNN boxing back and forth is not necessarily good for the country right now. What's good for the country right now is to just get on with your life and support local causes and vote with your ethics. Yeah. Fires extinguished in LA County. Yeah, they're slowly getting extinguished. Boy, do they need rain over there. They really need rain. They need the rain so bad. Philadelphia in the house. Nice. Florida as well. Nice. Texas. How you doing, Texas? Minneapolis, Minnesota. Hi. My current email is whimsyanderson@gmail.com. And if you are a writer and you'd like to be part of our book club, we do accept writers. So please think about sending your book to 1819 Southwest 5th Jefferson. No, hold on. Let me try again. 1819 Southwest 5th Avenue, Suite 116, Portland, Oregon, 97201. The address is also below this video. If you have a book you've written and you'd like it to be part of our book club, please think about sending it to me. We like spiritual books, either fiction or nonfiction, books that make you question your ethics. We had one murder. We had one murder mystery, but there was a lot of ethics behind it, so that's why we picked it. But yeah, so think about sending a book our way. Sprinklers on homes and being and around vegetation. Well, those Santa Ana winds. Well, that was interesting what we learned about the Santa Anas. Yeah. Okay, let's go ahead. We'll do the Empaz prayer. We'll bring it in for everybody. And then after we do the Empaz prayer, we'll do a collective reading. And then we will blitz away. I think it gets to me regardless. I always do a capital W, whimsyanderson@gmail.com, but I don't think it really matters. All right. Bringing in the Empaz prayer. If you need to receive a healing at this time, or someone you know needs a healing at this time, please give us your name so that we can pray for you and for your loved ones. Okay. Okay. I want to call on white light protection for myself and this community as we ask permission from Spirit to access the Akashic records. We call on our spirit guides and our good angels to be with us. Please give us the clarity and the wisdom that is needed to empower all of us on our journeys to make the best decisions for ourselves, our families, the planet, the people we love, but also to help those that we may have strife with. And together collectively as a community, we say, Amen. And for those of you who have requested that we come together at this time and send prayers and healing energy to those people who have come together and requested healings, we pray that you receive a healing in mind, body, and spirit, that you receive a perfect healing. Know that you are loved and cared for. And together collectively as a community, we say again, amen, amen, amen. You are healed. You are healed. May all souls be healed. May all souls be healed. All right. On that note, we're going to give you a collective reading. Thank you for being here. If you could like and subscribe, I would be forever grateful. Hopefully I did not take an allergy pill. I didn't think I was going to need it. Hopefully my cough has subsided. I apologize. I do suffer from allergies, and so occasionally I do cough. I apologize. So let's go ahead. We will do the collective. If any part of this doesn't apply to you, just pass it down, and hopefully it will apply to you, and it'll be able to assist you for the week. This is your collective reading for the week. Oh, thank you so much, LMA. Thank you. Welcome to Benefactors. We bow to you. Yes, we always have to give a bow to our benefactors. Yes, thank you. What do we need to know for the week? What do we need to know? I just feel like Spirit is telling us to get back to the garden. I just feel like everyone is getting back to the garden. And even if you live in a major city, people are getting back to the garden. I've talked about the fact that one of the things I committed to do was to live the good life. I want you to live the good life. And the good life means being able to have everything you want. For example, I've learned how to cook everything from scratch, and I built this amazing pantry. And it was just something I decided to do, and it was based on this spiritual idea that we talk about both in Buddhism. They talk about it quite a bit in Buddhism, is being a bodhisattva of the earth, and that you're here to help sentient beings be happy, to end suffering in the world, right? So one of the things I've talked to people about is this idea of being comfortable where you're at. Be comfortable where you're at. Go where they treat you right. And so when the door closes and you are in your home, are you being treated right? And so being treated right means really taking care of yourself, taking care of your health, and investing in learning how to cook from scratch, nutrient-dense food. But so I went through this by creating a pantry. This message from Spirit that we have to get back to the garden, and that part of why we became depressed and unhappy starts with the Victorian era, with the Industrial Revolution. As people leave the country, they leave the homestead, and they go to the city. And then we start to see diseases like diabetes. And not that we didn't have problems on the homestead, but we had community. We had community. And no, we weren't all trying to be movie stars. I know I wanted to be a movie star when I was a kid, and then I got over it. But anyway, here's an example of, you guys can take a look at this. It cost, I think probably I might have spent $1,000. I don't know. But what I wanted to have a well-stocked homestead. And I have a studio apartment in downtown Portland, Oregon. But by golly, I've always wanted to be Little House on the Prairie. So I was going to create my heaven on earth. And this is what the pantry I built looked like. And the idea was that I could, at any time of the day, literally, if anyone came to my home, I could cook for them from scratch I could whip up anything and they could have whatever they wanted. That was the idea of heaven on earth for me. And so once you create a list like this, you can do anything. You can do chocolate chip cookies. You can do a roasted chicken. You can do learn to cook from scratch is what I'm saying. And it brings you closer to the earth. Be close to the earth. Return back to the earth. Return back to knowing your food. Grow your food if you can't. There's just this feeling of we are recommitting to the land because we disconnected from the land and all hell broke loose, right? So that was the Industrial Revolution. Now we have the new green economy, peace in the Middle East with the Abraham Accords, right? And as a result of all that really great stuff that's happening, everybody is called to create heaven on earth. What does the Garden of Eden look like for you? Like for me, because I only have a small space, just a studio, but I can still have herbs and plants, like the herbs that are causing me to have the allergy right now. It's okay. But the idea is, you should see what happened. I bought one dragon fruit, and I wanted to see if I could. It's delicious, but I wound up with like literally 100 dragon fruits. So the idea of bringing heaven into your home. Your base card is the Three of Pentacles. Three of Pentacles is about a new commitment to a new home, to a new life, and to creating a stable life for yourself. Which is not to say, stable could be that you're a nomad and you travel the world, but there's this kind of internal stability and a return back to the land, which is starting to happen as part of this new green revolution. And that's why a lot of people are going homesteading. That's like, people are buying a plot of land. Say you buy 1 acre in Oregon and you spend, 200,000 or something. And you go in with a group of people and you put down 20,000. So everybody puts down 5,000 and then you build on the land. That would be an example of co-housing. Or, if you're looking at something like the Oasis project where you have these walking cities where it's very doable and a central subway system. This is a different way we're envisioning cities, a different way of envisioning living, and people closer to the land with everybody having a garden. The Three of Pentacles is a real estate card. It could indicate that you want a home for yourself. And there's an Ace of Swords moving in, which is within 1 year success. For those of you who are looking to sell or buy a home or looking for security in your home, you're going to get it within the next 365 days. Stability. I might buy property. Yes, little Whimsy might finally buy property because my goal is to be stable. Maybe be... And what I'm showing people is that you can be a homesteader even in an urban environment. I've got 6 feet that I can grow my herbs on, and you can stack it, right? Small spaces. So there's a lot of fun ways to get back to the earth, but we are called to get back to the earth as part of this way of helping Gaia. Also, planting trees is a great way of helping the planet, but also be aware that you can bring more plants into your home. Even if you have a small little home, you can bring in spider plants, which help clean the air in your home. So be aware that anywhere you are can be a slice of heaven. Take a look at the room you're in right now. Is it a slice of heaven? And do you understand the importance of being spiritually called to create heaven on earth in an eco-friendly way? So we have this wonderful energy of people getting stable in their homes and being able to take care of themselves. And that is what I want for people. The first house is a spiritual life. So the first thing we ask is your home stable? Do you have a stable home? And if not, let's crack open the books. Let's get you on a budget. I have a budget which I call my broke aristocrats budget, and that's because I'm part of that whole broke aristocrats group, which is about this idea of living like an aristocrat on a budget. That you really want to have the best life possible, and to do it affordably. So part of that is find out what you need in order to treat yourself well. And do it to the best of your ability, affordably. In plain words, look at your existing budget and then use it to create a beautiful space for yourself. Hierophant is almost like a monastery kind of a feeling, in the sense that it's how you look towards God and spirit. It's about, almost like a spiritual retreat. So you want your home to be a Garden of Eden, but you also want it to be a spiritual retreat. It's really interesting, the conversation that's coming up when you look at the cards that are coming up. Three of Pentacles, which has to do with real estate and home security. And then the Karma card being Ace of Swords, which is victory after tears. If you've been struggling in the home or struggling with home security, it's something that's going to be resolved this year. And I really love the energy that's being called to us at this time of how cities grew up in the Industrial Revolution, and now the homestead takes off in the Green Revolution, and how we can all come together to create community homesteads. Everyone's welcome, ways that everyone can afford it, and finding communities that work for us. But this spirituality is also a new beginning. Page of Wand is known as the Pioneer's card, and I am truly a pioneer, which is why I have that amazing pantry where, I bought another thing for my pantry today. I bought one other thing you want to have in a Broke Aristocrat's pantry is cooking sherry. Yes, cooking sherry. Because when I think about Broke Aristocrats in the kitchen, my first thought is Julia Childs falls into that category. She came out after World War II. I think she was a spy. Wasn't there some evidence she worked for the CIA or something? I don't know. The State Department, right? And then she met her husband in the State Department after World War II. They got married and settled down. And then but it was all about, if you look at American cooking, if you look at her books, it's all about nutrient-dense food on a budget, like how to properly prepare a roast, it still has that homestead feel. We haven't totally lost ourselves to the Industrial Revolution. And it has that frugal feeling of being a post-war book. If you look at the writings of Julia Child, she gets a little bit more expensive as she goes along. But the point is that it's this idea of learning to have a well-prepared home where you can care for yourself and you love yourself, and it's a sanctuary for yourself. And then the crossing card, like I said, is the pioneer. So it's getting back to that pioneer spirit of rolling up your arms and learning how to do for yourself, make for yourself. One of my hobbies, for example, is woodworking. I think if I had more room, I would probably carve a violin from scratch. That's one of the hobbies I would really enjoy doing. In previous lifetimes, I bet I was a woodworker, because it's just a hobby that I enjoy, is whittling and carving. I also like clay, working with clay. So bring your creativity to forefront also, that new pilgrim of a new path that's headed your way. And it's a spiritual path. What is above you? Take the weapons of war away from your enemies. How do you do that? So if you have strife right now, if you're having conflict with others, Page of Pentacles, they say part of it may be strife in your job, how you earn your income. Usually an employer is a source of suffering. When we think about the 5 sufferings in Buddhism or the Satan in Judaism, they're pretty much the same. There's an overlap. It's like your parents can be your adversary, the Satan. It's the first thing you come in contact with. They tell you can't do something as your parents. Then it's your teachers. Then it's your spouse, your employer, your environment or government, right? So for many of you, it could be in financial restrictions. What you can do to have a side hustle or to decrease spending, take control of your finances, take control over concerns you may have about job security or finances, because Page of Pentacles is money, it's your coin. What you're coming out of is Ten of Swords. Many of you may have been betrayed deeply by family members, friends, people you trusted, marriages that didn't work out. The Ten of Swords in the fifth house is when somebody has really been screwed over by people you trusted, people that should have been there for you. It could be that many of you have a deep wound, and this deep wound could have had even a financial impact on you or your ability to make money. The person's depressed, they don't want to work, or they may not even be able to work if you're sick. So we also see, when we go into this energy, this juxtaposition between you potentially having challenges with your money and your health, feeling of being like you've been hit one too many times by people you should have trusted, and now you've got to take control of the situation with that Five of Swords, honey. And then your new future is Moon card. Do not fall into emotional distress, illusion, fantasy, drug or alcohol abuse, too much sugar. Moon is lunacy. It's also psychic ability. So when a person is stressed out, they can have a breakdown. A person is stressed out, they can eat too much cookie dough. They're saying when you're stressed out, rely upon your spirituality, which is your first house, which is the Hierophant. Meditation, prayer, and your spiritual work. Understand that your life does have meaning. A person can be depressed if they feel that their life doesn't have meaning. The meaning of your life is to create heaven on earth and share it with the world. So seventh house is the King of Swords. You also are being called at this time to be more disciplined than you have ever been in your entire life. If you truly want to achieve everything that you have said you wanted to achieve in your life, then the King of Swords comes to you in the seventh house saying you must put away petty people and petty gossip. Why are you talking to this person? Why are you talking about this person? King of Swords is typified by extreme discipline. He has the sword of discipline. You know who he reminds me of? He reminds me of John Cleese in Monty Python. Yes, when he's playing the mean school teacher, hitting you with a stick, and Monty is playing the uptight, stiff schoolmaster. Yes, of John Cleese. He played that role very well. You'll get that kind of stern King of Swords will come in, and so it's also very stoic. You won't. When the queen died and her grandkids came out and they just posed like the true royals that they were, they didn't shed a single tear. Right? They're very stoic, stiff upper lip. That's the King of Swords, and that is you going forward. He, she, they screwed you over, Ten of Swords. How's that going to help you right now, right? Don't fall into the moon lunacy. I'm going to go and have a drink, or I'm going to go and smoke a joint, or I don't know. Think about something that causes you to spin out or lunacy, fall into a fantasy. So instead, you're being called to extreme discipline. Your opposition at this time is defensive. Say somebody didn't treat you right. Somebody defrauded you, or ripped you off, or spoke badly about you, even though they were the problem. Whoever has screwed you over, don't expect them to take personal responsibility, because your opposition is the Seven of Wands. It wasn't me, but I saw you in the bed. It wasn't me, right? No matter what she, he, they puts on you, it wasn't me. It wasn't me, but it was your signature. It wasn't me. It was your photograph. It wasn't me. You've been positively ID'd. It wasn't me, right? Seven of Wands is I'm defending myself against multiple attacks. So whoever done you wrong, if it makes you feel any better, they've done lots of other people wrong too, and now they're having. But I don't see personal responsibility necessarily from those you've had conflict with. The hope and the fear at this time is the King of Wands. Fears of war, don't want to have conflict. Knight of Wands, many of you are going to be traveling this year. And I see many of you heading to the Southwest, California, Arizona, New Mexico. Mexico, Central and South America look really promising. Also, if people are looking to Spain and Portugal, that can sometimes be like Western Europe, and the Mediterranean sometimes comes up with my Knight of Wands. Anyway, that is your reading. I'll do a quick clarification for you for the year. Warning again about temptation and addiction popped out. Have faith in yourself. Your greatest crime was not, it's not necessarily what they did to you. It was that you lacked faith in yourself. Your greatest crime, message from Spirit, is how dare you not have faith in yourself and your abilities. Of course, you will achieve if you put the work into it. You must, that is the crime, that you didn't take the leap of faith and go for it. Also, Empress stands in the 7th house, very, very creative. As for abusive people who have harmed you in the past, they will come to a bad end. The Tower stands in the 8th. It's a very bad omen for your enemies. That is your reading. I hope it gave you some clarity. Thank God my throat is cleared. I am sorry about the allergy attack. I knew better. I should have taken a Benadryl. Please forgive me. The Dewey. All right. No. We went over. That's okay. I don't mind. We can blitz away if you like. There's a lot going on, It's the first 100 days. So I don't mind if we go over. Did that help people? Did you guys get any clarity from your reading today? It looks like we got the order to blitz away. Kathy, welcome to Elders and Empaths. We have another great job, by the way. I was so impressed. Everybody who showed up for our practice class. We have them Fridays at 6 p.m. if you're members, if you want to just practice HCRV, basic technique, and hang out with some cool people for an hour and a half. We get together every Friday. We'll be back for another practice class Friday at 6 p.m., open to all members. I will try and create a practice class in the future, separate from the actual certification. Certification class starts February. What did we say? When is winter quarter? Somebody keeps track of this stuff for me. Hold on a second. I'm sorry, you guys. I'm a little out of it today. When is winter quarter starting? Does anybody remember? Friday, February 7th, I have written down winter quarter starts for mystery school certification. If you would like to be certified as a heart-centered remote viewing, if you want to get certification, class officially starts Friday, February 7th. I was going to do a tarot class, but tarot is usually taught in the summer, and I thought it would be mean of me to change the schedule. So that's cool. Anyway, February 7th, but we do have practice class. We're still meeting on the 31st of January for our rehearsal for practice. So if you just want to get together and practice. And then that'll give you time to get your books. The book is Hands of Light. That was another thing that people wanted to ask me. If you are thinking about taking the class. So class is 10 weeks. It is a 10-week course. And hold on a second, you guys. It's a 10-week course. And it's available at the Elders and Empaths level. I just got somebody, Lynn just became a benefactor. That's $100 a month. That's free classes, plus you get a consultation with me once a month. So that's kind of cool. But I have found for those people that are trying to learn HCRV that the best class is the best. God, I'm sorry, I can't find this book. Hold on a second, you guys. I got asked this by somebody, and is this the right one? No, it's not. Hold on just a sec. I will be with you in half a sec. Okay, let me just do one thing and then we'll blitz away. This is for the students who are starting next quarter. If you sign Elders and Empaths, then you're signed in, and then we post a link to the class a couple of hours before class starts. This is the reading material for the class. This is we had it open. We had it open because we taught a class. But this is Hands of Light by Barbara Brennan. And this is why we use this class, because you're able to see images of the energetic body. And this is basically the world we live in as remote viewers. This is a nice template of the fifth. You can see the meridians coming off along with the chakras. I love this because you can see the meridians. And this is what it's like to be a remote viewer up here on the right. This is how your body feels when you become one or you start to mirror the target. You'll start to feel a stuffy nose, or you'll start hearing music, or you'll start feeling stoned, depending upon what's physically going on with the other person. Anyway, I just wanted to show that Hands of Light, Barbara Brennan, Hands of Light, Barbara Brennan. I don't know how to bring this back to the beginning quickly, so I can't show it. I can't, I don't know how to do that. Oh, can we do it this way? The beginning. Oh, that was easy. So there's the book. If you are joining us, we would love to see you Friday, 6 p.m., the 7th. All right. Without further ado, let us blitz away. I aim to please. I'm going to see if I go back and see about questions. Thank you again, Lynn. And text me when you want to come in for your monthly get-together. Hi, Kay. Good to see you here. You're grateful for the rain. Yes. Yes. More rain, the better in Southern California. Absolutely. Chickens. Oh, lucky you. Real Rosie has chickens. Yeah, I'm doing the best I can. You know, when I was a kid, we had a wood stove, and I used to feel like such a loser that my parents had a wood stove. Like, oh, we're so poor. We got a wood stove, and we got to go chop firewood, and we're such losers. And we got this here wood stove, and we got this here fireplace and a wood. This is like poverty. And now I look at the old Victorian house that I lived in as a child, selling for $1 million. I'm thinking, I will never have the money to get back to my childhood. Isn't that crazy? That's how much things have changed. And that's how much our priorities have changed too. It's like, man, what I would do for us to have a nice Victorian house with a wood stove. Wouldn't that be fantastic? And a fireplace. I would love that. You know, you don't know what you got till it's gone. Yeah, I was complaining as a kid. Daddy want me to go chop more firewood? I'm an abused child. I got to go chop that firewood. And now I'm thinking, oh my God, what a heavenly life to just be, you know, a nice cold winter day in Oregon or Washington in a nice cozy cabin. You can hear that crackling of the wood. You've got a wood stove and a fireplace, and you've got a cobbler, my mother's blackberry cobbler in the oven. Come on, man, this is heaven. Oh, cooking sherry makes you think of French onion soup. Yeah, because that was the food of the peasants. That a lot of really great cooking was discovered out of poverty. Fran Kalb is the author. She is our guest author this month. So give a warm welcome to Fran Kalb. She's the author of 1001 Nights. She'll be in our studio on I believe it's the 11th. Thank you, Fran. Yeah, so when you think about something like French cooking, if you think about the French onion soup, it was given to the peasants. It was the rotted onions that were gleaned from the field, the dry bread from the master's table, right? And the rind of his cheese, and the sour wine he didn't want that had gone sour. So, and the bones that he gave to the dogs, right? So you think, oh my God, what a horrible life. The dog bones, what are you going to do with that? Well, we're going to soak them in the wine, right? What's that? That's bone broth, right? You soak it in vinegar wine. And then we're going to roast it. And then we're going to boil it down. And now you've got a broth, some bay leaves. Bay grows everywhere, right? It's a wild plant. and then we're going to take those, we're going to saute some of that onion and some fat. Usually they got some fat. They didn't get the steak. They got the fat and the throwaway parts of the organs, right? So they would fry up the onions and some of the fat. And then they would boil down the bone broth with the vinegar. And then you would throw some of that dry bread on top and some of that cheese rind. And that was the food of the peasants. And now how much do you pay for something like that? You know, we went to Paris, my sister and I, and my sister wanted an authentic bowl of French onion soup because we make it from home. It was like 20 something bucks to be by the Champs-Élysées or whatever. And it, you know, if you had told the peasants one day people from all over the world will come to eat this and they'll spend this much food to eat it, the peasants of France would have thought you were completely out of your mind. There's no way. People are going to come from the United States and spend thousands of dollars to sit on the Champs-Élysées and eat this. You know, it's interesting. It's really interesting. All right, first question. Will Trump go after the cartels in Mexico? Well, we hope so. That's a good thing to go after. There's Trump, King of Swords, air sign male because he's a Gemini. His opposition is doing fine. Six of Swords. People that are having issues with him will just get on with their life. Six of Swords is smooth waters. If you read Wands as swords, cautionary tale. Do you read Wands as swords? No. Swords are made of ice. They're supposed to be represent ice, the winter. And so people will often read swords as years. So it's many years. Smooth waters, many years lay ahead. So they're leaving the rocky waters and they're heading towards the smooth waters. So the opposition of Trump is doing fine. So if you're asking me, is Mexico okay? They're fine. Is the Mexican president okay? They're fine. They don't seem to be bothered and probably not. And there's no premonition here of future problems for the rest of the world because of Donald Trump, because his cabinet is not going to let him do this stuff. Hopes and fears, hanging up. So loss of contracts. What happens is that people will not be able to afford to buy certain things because of the tariffs. And so the concern is that people will hang up or stop purchasing certain things. Seven of Wands. Trump is left defending his positions and his opposition is fine. Six of Swords. They're fine. He isn't. I was right. You were wrong. Right? Seven. I shouldn't make fun. But Seven of Wands is when I have to defend myself. The clarification for him. First house, he's watching the money. So he's watching the international market to see what it's done. A great celebration occurs with his enemies. So they're celebrating and he's watching his money very closely, specifically the green economy. Oh, I didn't think you could make money off this stuff. He's too focused on oil. He needs to diversify his portfolio. If I was the person that was giving him advice, particularly with the Seven of Pentacles standing in the seventh house, because that's harvesting, planting, reaping what you plant. And I read that literally as a green economy. The better you take care of the earth, the more it will produce. So I read Seven of Swords literally as a green economy card. The fact that his opposition is like, woo, party, party, 3 of Cups and 6 of Swords, doesn't mean necessarily that Trump is not the president. It's just that who cares when you have solid infrastructure on a local level? The answer is save what we can save, vote with your wallet. And I mean, the truth of the matter is these cards almost look like we just get on with our lives and ignore him, and we build a beautiful world despite him. Hopes and fears, the thief that got away with it. Interesting. He's rendered powerless by a disinterest by those around him to participate. 10 of Wands, he packs up and moves. I'm telling you, this guy is not going to be in the White House long. He has a heavy load is upon him. He defends himself. He's trying to convince people this burden. Meanwhile, we don't need you. The money is behind us. Everybody's moving to the new green economy. What are you doing? People are building pantries. You're not hip anymore. Hip is Little House on the Prairie, man. We want to get back to the garden. And that is exactly what people are doing. It's like, this is not for us. So that means that with this 7 of Pentacles energy moving in, we have to ask ourselves, is Wall Street ready for it? Because once you've become self-sufficient, like I've become really self-sufficient, I can live on a very meager monthly income now because I know how to cook from scratch and because I literally have everything in my home. I have cooking sherry. I have, so when you grocery shop, you only have to spend, $50 a week or whatever for like your animal protein, your vegetables, because you've got so many different things in your pantry. And so other than your vegetables and everything is scratch, you even make your own I make my own crackers. I had some crackers like these crackers are so addictive, by the way. I have ADD, as you can tell. I'm because it's $5 for a little thing of crackers. Why don't you just make your own crackers for 50 cents? And they taste better because they're fresh. They don't taste stale. You start to realize that packaged crackers taste stale. I made my own, 50 cents, baby. No preservatives. These are so freaking addictive. They smell so good. These are garlic, sesame seed, corn, and einkorn. That's the recipe. And I just toasted it as a block and then broke it up. And then the ones I had before it were just sesame and einkorn. I'm almost done with them. Point is that the more self-sufficient, the more you learn to just make from scratch, the more you live simply, the happier you will become, and the less you can ignore politicians that annoy you. Delicious. Learn to cook a good cracker. You won't regret it. Okay. Next question. Let's keep rolling, people. Oh, we got a nice donation, American Forest. Hot dog. I'm thrilled. $505. Come on, you guys. This is important. We gotta grow more. It's important. We got a lot. You know how many trees? How many trees did we lose? How many trees were lost? Does anybody know? We could ask Hippocrates. Hippocrates, how many trees were lost in the recent Los Angeles fires? It's important. We've got to, yeah. Let's see. I wonder if, so every dollar is what? One tree, right? So we just got we contributed 5 trees so far today. Or did we get more? Did we get more of it?
I'm not sure about the most recent numbers, but I can tell you that historically La loses a lot of trees every year due to factors like drought, disease, and urban development. Could you provide more context or clarify which event you're referring to?
The recent LA fires where it was a national disaster. Wasn't it considered a national? I don't know. So the point is this, people. We gotta grow as many trees as we can. All right, next question. Let's keep going. Thank you for the donation, much appreciated. Welcome, Kathy, Elders and Empaths. We did that. All right, moving on. Oh, the readings was helpful. Did everybody benefit from that reading? So it looks like, yes, it was quite bad according to Hippocrates. This is Hippocrates. Say hi to Hippocrates. He's the local scientist.
Unfortunately, I don't have the most up-to-date information on tree loss from the most recent wildfires. However, previous wildfires in the region have resulted in the destruction of millions of trees. For example, the Woolsey fire in 2018 destroyed an estimated 90% of the trees in Malibu Creek State Park, and the Thomas fire in 2017 burned down 80% of the trees in Ventura County.
All right. So thank you, everyone who is helping to bring trees back. Yes, Barbara Brennan was the book. We have another member too. I just want to say thank you, Anna, to Fairies and Angels. Are you a fairy or an angel? Wouldn't we like to know? I'm more fairy. I'm more fairy than angel. I just, cooking sherry, yeah, usually, or it's the vinegars like the balsamic vinegars, but when it goes off, people would use it for cooking, like the serfs used it in cooking for making making an onion soup with bones. These are to be able to make food from nothing, I think is really wonderful. Or I just think it's great. And it's so good for you too. Bone broth is so good for you. And onions, they're loaded with quercetin. Yeah. Will Trump talk to Obama for advice on green economy? That was the conversation that we were pretty sure was taking place, where they had talked and Obama had said to him, well, we don't really have a lot of time. We should probably meet right away to talk about it. And then what did Trump say to him about pulling out? He said of the accords. He said something like, "It's a stupid idea. I'd be crazy to agree. Like it's a bad business deal." He was trying to explain to Obama why he felt it was a bad business deal. Let's see about the future relationship with Obama and Trump. Well, unfortunately, he wasn't convinced because he did pull out of the Abraham Accords. So, at least Obama is keeping the communication open, which is what you would want. But because the report coming in, because Seven of Pentacles is in his seventh house, I'm telling you, and with Silicon Valley coming in, and a lot of their money and contracts is with the EPA, and there's so much new green technology coming out of Silicon Valley. I can't imagine that they would be okay with him cutting green spending. The clearing the roads of CO2, those things they're going to put up on highways to clear the CO2, that's a technology that they're probably going to buy. And solar and wind, a lot of that's coming out of California tech world. I think it would be nearly impossible for him to shut it down. They won't let him because they've invested in him. What they want is an end of regulation, which is inhibiting building. So they tore it all down and then they start again. And that's good and bad. The good part is that a lot of new green stuff is going to get built because they've cleared away a lot of restriction. The bad is that troublemakers are going to come in and then we're going to have to start with restrictions again. So it's both good and bad to tear away some of the restrictions. Even liberals say it got to be ridiculous. Like, Bill Maher is a libertarian Democrat and a huge environmentalist and a vegan. but he was trying to put his solar roof up and he said it took him like 3 years. It's like, this is ridiculous. So that's the kind of regulation that environmentalists would like to see. We've got to streamline the regulations. I think that's the complaint. Confusion. This is a relationship. When you put these two people together, you come up with the moon card. So Biden and Trump, there's just confusion. These two people are very different people. They handle the world differently. They handle politics differently. They view the world differently. They deal with conflict differently. Opposition, King of Swords. Obama doesn't like conflict. He doesn't have conflict with people. He doesn't usually wind up in court. He doesn't usually wind up sued. He doesn't usually evoke these types of strong emotions that Trump does. He's more, let's continue to monitor the situation. He's more, so the confusion, I feel like the main issue you get with Trump is, like, Queen of Swords is justice. It's the courts possibly coming in. Strong disagreement about the budget and how money is spent. It would be interesting to see how Obama feels about the Iran deal now that so many people feel like it was a disaster, right? Does he consider it the worst thing of his presidency? Well, he thinks Libya, the bombing of Libya, if you ask him personally, he'd say that was the biggest mistake of my career. But I would say that the Iran deal was probably equally just as horrible. So you have this confusion where the two of them are just confused and disagreeing on issues, whether it's the climate agreement or the Iran deal. And it is like they space each other out. Like, what the hell did he just say? What the hell did he just say? What the hell? I just feel a deep confusion. Like, these two have a real hard time communicating. So there's a lot. I think that Obama tries to be cordial to him, but it's a very, I feel discombobulated. The green economy wins because that's the nature of technology. The Empress always wins. That's why we will probably disarm nuclear weapons in the next 10 years, because it's expensive. They're expensive to maintain, and because war isn't fought like that anymore. And the attention now is on Star Wars and on defense. So it's the same with fossil fuels. We can scream and rant and rave about this law or that law, but the bottom line is that if I was an oil person, I'd be diversifying my portfolio and moving into the new green economy and trying to get those government contracts, because the partnership and the outcome is the Empress. So even though there's confusion happening, in answer to your question, Joel, about the future of the new green economy, the outcome is the Empress. So she wins. So he's a bad president, but it's not the end of America. It's not the end of the world. He's just a bad president. And there are a lot of stopgaps. There are a lot of people controlling him. And we have, it could be the worst of times, but it could also be the best of times, depending upon what we do on a local level and what we do as consumers. Yeah. All right, I think I'll do one more question, and then my cracker recipe. Yeah, I just went with a general cracker recipe. So I went with I like sesame crackers, or what are called bagelettes. And I use einkorn wheat, but these ones here are the ones that I made. And I just, I didn't make, I just broke it up. but these are addictive, and I can't stop eating them. And they taste. What happened was they wound up tasting so much better. They're like, these are. I mean, well, they're hot out of the oven and they're crunchy with the toasted sesame. And I made my own hummus from scratch. Also, I bought dried chickpeas. I'm trying to be like from before the Industrial Revolution. That's my goal, to try and get food as minimally processed as possible. I just really believe in this, as a broke aristocrat. And I really want people to have the good life, to live the best damn life you can live. And it starts with not wasting, living simply, and creating heaven where you're at. Just and know that you have a moral responsibility to do this. That suffering is actually a novella in Judaism. It's a sin. It's in Buddhism, it's actually bad. Mitzvah gadola liot v'simcha. It is a great deed to be happy. By being happy and creating heaven on earth, you have served the world. You have to do it in a way that's eco-friendly. And if you do that, you are serving your function, because you're bringing joy into the world and you're bringing a slice of heaven into the world. But this is a basic recipe if you guys want to start making your own crackers. And you can make them with einkorn wheat or a gluten-free wheat flour. It's really simple to do. It's just salt and flour and a little bit of olive oil and water and sesame seeds. And you just bake it at 375. This recipe calls for sugar, and I think instead of sugar, I put something else in because I didn't want to use sugar. Either I omitted. Either you can omit the sugar, or I think I just didn't use it. Yeah, I didn't even use sugar. I couldn't taste it. I knew it tasted a little different than the ones I bought. I love sesame crackers. I just love them. I love them with hummus. I eat them all the time. So it was nice to make them with einkorn wheat. And I got the einkorn wheat. I bought like 3 or 4 bags. Actually, I think I bought 5 bags on Amazon.com because I knew that I was going to use it. And then I also bought a ton of, I stored up. So I bought something like 5 pounds of gluten-free flour also. Yeah. And it's just heaven on earth, fresh out of the oven, because I'm called to do this, right? Is some nice sesame crackers with my tea or my hummus. I also made scones yesterday. I'm enjoying some very nice homemade scones. And then you have someone over, and then you can share your joy with another human being. And which is what we do here when we all get together and have brunch, and we share our joy with one another and our slice of heaven. And that is it's really that simple, I promise. All right. Thank you, everyone, for sharing your time with me. Thank you to those who have become members and to those who have donated to AmericanForest.org. And I guess I'm out of here. I'm going to go eat one of those delicious scones. And be kind to all so that all will be kind to you too. If you're trying to see me as a physician, or if you'd like to get a card reading, I see patients through Booksy, which is below, and I will call you at the appointed time. Be kind to all so that all will be kind to you too. God bless. Peace out. We'll see you next time. Take care, everyone. Bye.